Welcome to the Bowling Green Unitarian Universalist Church. Our opening music this morning will be a video from the Salt Lake City Unitarian Universalist Church. Okay, Matt.
He is the very model of a modern Unitarian. He was born Romanian, so don't call him Bulgarian. He's also not from Budapest, Ukraine, or Lithuania. He probably is the coolest thing to come from Transylvania.
I am the very model of a modern Unitarian. I'm here because I've lived so long, I'm now octogenarian. With 50 years attendance, I'm a very senior resident. Although I'm better looking, I am older than the president.
Although he's better looking, he is older than the president. Although he's better looking, he is older than the president. Although he's better looking, he is older than the president.
We're educated, cultivated, liberal, and turning gray.
We all like Shakespeare, opera, ballet, and we all drink Beaujolais.
We're all egalitarian and we're humanitarian. We are the very model of a modern Unitarian. We are the very model of a modern Unitarian. We're ethical, sustainable, and also vegetarian. If you would like to join us, it would not be so regrettable. We have a lot of recipes and some of them are edible.
We are the very model of some modern Unitarians.
Our masters of theology have made us seminarians.
We never preached damnation and we don't have a confessional.
We're open and inclusive, and we're also quite professional.
They're open and inclusive, and they're also quite professional. They're open and inclusive, and they're also quite professional. They're open and inclusive, and they're also quite professional.
We're always looking for new ways to make the world a better place.
But Utah politics ensure we often fall down on our face.
We're all egalitarian and we're humanitarian. We are the very model of a modern Unitarian.
Yellow.
I am the very model of a modern Unitarian. Devotion to the evidence has made me a contrarian. If you're the optimistic type, believing everything you read, consider that a friend like me is just the very thing you need.
I am the very model of a modern Unitarian. I'm coming out the closet and confessing I'm a thespian. I realize the second line does not rhyme with the rest of it. But being gay in Utah helps you learn to make the best of it. But being gay in Utah helps you learn to make the best of it. But being gay in Utah helps you learn to make the best of it. But being gay in Utah helps you learn to make the best of it. While driving in our Priuses, NPR gives us our news.
Mind your P's and Q's, for some of us are LGBTQs. LGBTQs. Some of us are homosexuals.
Hope you enjoyed that. Well, welcome to the Bowling Green Unitarian Universalist Church again. And we are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different every week, so that we can honor and learn from our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker will be the Reverend Sharon Ditmar. It will be a video presentation, and I'll tell you a little bit about her before her talk. Though we each walk our own path here in this place, we journey together as one community. And Tim Decker will now light our chalice. The chalice has been the symbol of Unitarian Universalism since the Second World War, when it was used as a symbol by people who were helping rescue people from under Hitler to get out of Germany and Eastern Europe. Becky Davis will read our opening words.
Actually, I'm Becky Snyder these days. I just finally did it. I'm lazy, but I'm proud to be Becky Snyder. So the opening reading is a responsive reading, and it's number 442. And so it is called We Bid You Welcome. Yeah, you can just see it up here. We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirits seeking rest, who comes with troubles that are much for you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming, who have found room for your spirit. We find in this a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome.
Now, please stand for our first hymn, number 108. My life flows on in endless song. Children's recession, if we have any children to go. Number 413, go now in peace. I don't think we have any children today, so we can skip that, I guess. Okay. We'll now have a period of silence, meditation, or prayer. It'll be followed by singing together Spirit of Life. Follow the sound of the bell into silence. Follow your breath. responsive reading. Becky Davis will lead it again.
I'll respond to either one. Yeah. Okay, this is number 468. We need one another. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success, when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat, when the encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die, and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. Our lives are in need, and others are in need of us.
Our sermon today is a recording. It's by the Reverend Sharon Ditmar. Sharon graduated from Harvard Divinity School in 1997. She served 1 year as an interim minister at the Gathering of Northern Hills in Cincinnati, and 18 years as minister at First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati. In 2016, she began work as a congregational life field staff with the Mid-America region.
Good morning. My name is the Reverend Sharon Ditmar, and I want to share with you one of my favorite readings, Wild Geese, by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. I have one foot larger than the other one. Actually, most of us do. You really aren't imagining it. You go to the shoe store, your left shoe fits, but the right one feels small. You wonder if the small one will stretch. You wonder what is wrong with the shoe. It's not the shoes. It's the feet. Our feet. They're not the same size. Human bodies are not symmetrical. Human minds are not perfect, infallible. We are all in process, being conditioned in our conditions to a condition. We are wholly human in a dazzling continuum of being and mortality. As a guest minister, I once preached a sermon entitled "Dare to be Average." After the service, one man came up to me and needed, I would even go so far as to say, to argue with me that average was not commendable. It was not good. Where was my spirit of achievement, he asked. Where was my value for success? Where were my standards? Obviously, my sermon on the impossibility of perfection and the value of average had fallen short. I went home content. Our bodies are full of difference, and they continue to grow and change with age, time, and life. If we live long enough, there will be many adaptations, medications, therapy, perhaps even surgery needed for accident, injury, wear and tear. Our bodies are extraordinary in their divergence and beauty. The myth is that there is one standard of health, beauty, normalcy. The myth is that there is something better than average. It is the idea of normal that I find particularly frustrating, as is, I think, our limited understanding of average. Couldn't average just be the all of everything, that is average and normal? I have a friend who was born with spina bifida. Her spinal cord developed so that it did not close to the open air and was exposed then. I am sure her medical diagnosis at the time was full of words such as did not develop properly or normally, was not average, etc. But neither of those words, proper or normal, are factually true. Bodies develop in a myriad of ways. There is no proper. This is not setting a table. And as for normal, if spina bifida is a condition that happens, and it is, then it's normal. It's normal. Due to spina bifida, my friend uses a wheelchair, which is also normal. This problem is with society and the medical profession when it chooses to see any condition as abnormal. What if we lived in a society where we celebrated and designed for all variations and considered all of the variations average? The human condition includes a vast continuum of everything. It is only limited by our imagination and narration, the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. There are a lot of different sized feet out there, a lot of unavailable organs, missing hair, extra hair, different shaped bodies, different functioning brains. This is not a matter of perfection or failure, because failure and perfection, they're relative, limited notions, and just small parts of the all of human condition. We are so much broader and diverse than we know. And as the Mid-America Regional Assembly keynote speaker for 2022, CB Beal, who describes themselves as a white, fat, queer, non-binary religious and social justice educator, likes to say, everybody is already in the room. Whether we know it or not, everybody is already in the room because everything happens. Beal reminds us we are only limited by our notions of what is normative and our deceptions about our beautiful variety. I hope you will register for our assembly at www.uua.org/midamerica/RA/2022 to join the conversation on April 30th and learn more. Beal's comments remind me of the movie Sound of Metal, about a heavy metal drummer played by the actor Riz Ahmed, who goes deaf. The character he plays, Ruben, struggles with his growing deafness. With all his might, he fights himself, and in the process, he makes himself sick, isolated, and miserable. In the movie, we journey actually with Ruben as his body changes, and he learns new ways of communicating and living in silence, finally celebrating the peace it brings, which is the peace he discovers by embracing his body as it is, as he finds it, instead of it forcing it into the shape it once had. What if there's not a normal body, not a perfect body, not a proper body. What if all bodies are extraordinary and miraculous variations, and our work in society and as neighbors to one another is to find ways to embrace, assist, and include everyone? Some of you might have heard of the concept of universal design, designing products, buildings, and experiences so that they're accessible to everyone. Universal design relies on the theory that everybody is already in the room, or on the street, or in the home. So how do we design for everyone? There are curb cuts, for example, on streets to make it easier for strollers and wheelchairs and walkers. There's live transcription in Zoom rooms so that text can appear on the screen as a person speaks. In many ways, we are in the infancy of understanding universal design as a society, and so we're still learning. I know I am. It has taken me years to remember to enable live transcription. It's a little button at the bottom of your Zoom page if you're the host. It is new for me to ask questions and be curious about universal design. Questions like, how can I design a class to include the most people? Or what about this experience excludes somebody, and what could be done to change that? And in including the most people, I'm not going for numbers. I'm going for the most diversity that will be in the room, because everybody's always already in the room. These questions are more like conversations with continual learning. I'm not perfect in this work. I am extremely normal in this work because I'm human. I just try to learn because I care about all my neighbors, and I will be learning about and trying to practice universal design until the day I die. It is a journey, not a destination. And I'm actually grateful, very grateful to be on this journey. For me, it's a way to live my values. I recently spoke to a disability activist who wistfully wondered when people would just accept their human bodies as they are. This got me to wondering about how much I accept and celebrate my body, just as it is. Truth be told, I'm doing a very moderate and maybe poor job at this, which is of course very human. I'm still wrestling with my newly gray hair, my wrinkles, my changing body, just as Reuben wrestled in The Sound of Metal. Though, since these changes do not involve my livelihood, I'm having an easier time than he was. I do, though, see myself struggling to celebrate the changes and where I find myself now. Sometimes I think of myself as old, and not in a celebratory way, which I could choose to do. It is almost like in thinking about old as negative, I am creating and participating in a limited narrative and falling into that old familiar habit of conceiving problems about something extremely normal and natural. Instead of complaining about my wrinkles or trying to hide them, what if I celebrated my journey of life? All that time I spent thinking about myself as too old, I could be celebrating or reviewing or looking back to decide how I want to be in the present moment. I am who I am. I'm 55 years old. There are many sunrises and sunsets, many adventures, stories in these lines, and they also provide me definition for who I want to be right now today. For me, as a white woman with privilege, I risk invisibility in our youth-focused society. Though I must say, truly, our youth don't want all the attention they get. I know I sure did not as a young person. And yet for other people with a variety of abilities and identities, say an elderly Black disabled woman in a wheelchair, the gauntlet of societal perception includes invisibility, ignorance, multiple microaggressions, and discriminations. What if we could just break away from right body, wrong body, perfect anything, and just be in love, just be curious, just appreciate, and just blessedly adapt. The poet Mary Oliver writes, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees. For 100 miles through the desert repenting, you only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours and I will tell you mine. I wish so much in this world that we could appreciate one another beyond just form and diagnoses, which can never fully describe the complexity, the moving beauty of every human story and life. No one here is just the sum of their diagnosis or form. We're that and so much more. I remember reading the book by clinical psychologist Annie Rogers, A Shining Affliction, A Story of Harm and Healing in Psychotherapy. It's really a remarkable and unique story about a woman who ended up teaching at Harvard. And I looked her up for the sermon. She's now teaching at Hampshire College in Massachusetts. It's just tremendous what she shares, which is a rare truth in a world that likes to have secrets. Annie begins her story with a description of her doctoral clinical internship at a site for emotionally disturbed children. She works with several children, but it is immediately drawn to one child in particular, Ben, who's about 5 years old. As she describes several play therapy sessions with Ben, we discover that he was a severely abused child left alone in a room until he was 18 months of life. He now lives with a loving adoptive family, but bears, obviously, the scars from his early years. And the scars are inside him and not visible to anyone on the outside. Ben is never a diagnosis, though, to Annie. So he is never a diagnosis for us, the reader. Annie is driven to uncover what is inside this bright, creative, hurt boy, what his story means to him, and to find a way to help him bridge into a good and loving world and family that waits for him. For the first time in his young life, Ben finally connects to someone who is Annie, and their play therapy is beautiful and magical. As the reader, we think this story is just going to be about Ben, right? Until Annie has a severe breakdown and is hospitalized. Her fall is intense, as are the repressed memories she recovers that render her unable to speak for a time. At one point, as Annie begins to move forward with a good therapist, she asks, "Do you think I will ever be cured?" After laughing quite some time, the therapist replies, "Annie, only Ham gets cured." There is no cure. There is no cure for being who we are. Only living, loving, getting help with people who support us, and celebrating the human condition. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you have a place in the family of things, just as you are, normal, varied, and beautiful in your own way. Celebrate yourself and your loved ones in your infinite beauty and mystery. May it always be so.
If you will turn to hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, and stand and let's sing it. And now we come to the time to give back for our offertory. Please be as generous as you can. We only depend on each other to keep the church open and pay the bills. So. Thank you for your gifts. May we use them wisely. Now we have time for community news. Diane has an announcement.
We sent out 210 postcards to ex-felons to remind them that they are eligible to vote. And we're sending out 350 more. If you have any postcards outstanding, I need them today, please. They'll be going out. These will be going out in the next week. Also, we have 75 signs. We are working on reproductive justice in this congregation. And if you would like a sign, please, we'd like to get them out throughout this whole county. Thank you. They're in the front office.
I want to make a public service announcement to match.
Go for it.
About this election, if you vote straight party, you negate your right to vote for these constitutional amendments. So you need to go person by person and to vote, so you do not lose your right. And you would also lose your right to vote for nonpartisan races like the judgeships. And here I go with my political announcement. My oldest son, J.B. Hines, is running for district judge for, not district, whatever he is. He's been district judge for 5 counties, but he will be for Warren County and for Edmonson County. And he, you know, I may be a little bit biased, but he is a man of integrity, and I think he would do a good job. But please be sure when you vote that you are not negating any of your rights.
Yeah, that is very good advice and something that a lot of people do not know, and it's very important in this election. Any other community news? Okay, this is the time that we leave our online visitors. Thank you for attending, and hope you have enjoyed the service and gotten some interesting things from it. This is our time for sharing and introductions. Is there anyone here for the first or second time who would like to introduce yourself? Good morning. Good morning.